Okay, the next thing we're going to try is a recipe called spicy cheese crisps. And this was another recipe that Rachel Ray did on her TV program last week. And the girls at work said, you make it and bring it in because everybody's going to try something different. So the first thing that it asked for was Cheez-Its, spicy Cheez-Its. And so I found these hot and spicy Cheez-Its was the only thing I could find, and it's got Tabasco on it. So I don't know if this is something that you guys would want to try. When I opened it up, it sounded really, or smelled really strong, really spicy. And then 2 cups of shredded cheese, Colby Jack cheese. It actually asks for 4 cups of Cheez-Its and 2 cups of cheese, and it says to coarsely grind them. And let me get my lid over here. So it said to do it in a food processor, but I don't have a food processor, I just have a blender. So I am chopping them up little by little, and hold your ears, here we go. And I've already done some of them, you can see there in the bottom of that container. That one may be a little too coarse. Put that back in there. I had already measured out our 4 cups. I've been doing them little by little. I've never made these before either. I like to make a lot of things I've never made before. A lot of times I do that when I'm having a dinner party. I'll make everything I've never had before and serve it to my guests. You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to serve things that you know are good. I like to cook so much. I like to use people as guinea pigs. All right, chopping the last bit. Okay. Just bang it on the sides and all of that should come out. There we go. And usually what I do when I'm cooking, I try a recipe exactly the way it is for the very first time. And then after that, I might change it up a little bit if I think it needs a little of this or a little less of that, or whatever. I'll change it up some. But first time out, I always do it just by the recipe. Well, almost always. All right, so we put in the 4 cups of cheese nips all shredded up, and then 2 cups of shredded Colby Jack cheese. And the only brand I could find of Colby Jack was the Publix brand, so that's what we're using. So we put that in. It says in a medium-sized bowl, combine the ground cheese nips with shredded cheese. So I guess I just want us to mix them up. I'm going to do that with a slotted spoon. A slotted spoon sometimes is better to use because it helps things to mix better. And you know what? I'm going to put this back in this bigger bowl. I just like to use a bigger bowl. All right, there we go. I'm going to mix this up. Now it says place a heaping tablespoon in 2-inch intervals on a pan that's lined with parchment paper. Well, I didn't have any parchment paper, but I do have wax paper, and it'll work exactly the same. Grandma told me the other day that wax paper is actually hard to find now. So you have to use parchment paper instead. I guess that's what it's supposed to look like. I kind of thought maybe it would stick together some, but it's not sticking together. But we'll try it. All right, let me get a spoon here. I can't remember what they said, how much to put out, but let's see what it says. Place a heaping tablespoon. Well, this is a tablespoon. This is not. So we'll do, and another, oh, I don't think I didn't wash my measuring spoons. Maybe I've got one. Here's one. That's a tablespoon. And see, a tablespoon, it can be one that you eat with, or it can be a measurement. And these are basically about the same size if you heap it up really good on this. But I'm gonna go ahead and do it with a measuring spoon. Okay. Now, anytime your recipe says do something a tablespoon, what you would want to do is fill it up and then kind of shake it just a little bit so that it's a level teaspoon or tablespoon. But on a heaping tablespoon, we're going to heap it up like that, and then we're going to move this back because I've got to, there we go, it's not cooperating. Pull that out just a little bit. All right, and we're going to put this on here, and I don't know if you can see the picture. This is a black and white picture, but it kind of looks like a cookie almost. So I guess we just need to leave enough space between each one because it says put it on in 2-inch intervals. So I really haven't left 2 inches away from the side of the pan, but we'll try that. And I have to give me just a second. I've got some problems with the camera. It's wanting to slide off of my head. Sorry about that movement. All right, let's keep going. So another one, about 2 inches. Not gonna get very many on here, are we? And another one. Yeah, that really wasn't 2 inches, but okay. Interesting. I think these are gonna be real spicy because they smell very spicy. There we go. So I think I'll have to do 2 pans full of these, and then we'll have to bake them again. Now I'm still waiting on our cake to get finished. Clean up my mess. Oh, did you see that? All right, let's take this spoon and fix it. There we go. Okay, that wasn't too bad. See, that's one of the reasons I like to clean up my mess as I'm going along, so I don't have little accidents. Okay. I have another recipe there that we'll try some other time. It's for cauliflower, and that's something I don't really like. But I like to try things. I like to try things that even that I don't like, because sometimes I find out, you know, that wasn't too bad prepared that way. All right, there we go. That worked out a little bit better the way I put that in there. Okay. We're gonna have a lot of this left over. Some of my tablespoons are getting bigger. My heaping tablespoons. Whoa! Sometimes you just make a mess when you're cooking. Sometimes you can be perfectly clean and tidy, but other times you just make a big mess. Now I think that's going to probably make at least another 2 pans of this. All right, we're on the very last step of our cheese crisps. That's what they're called. I had to cheat and look. Okay, we set our oven so that it would cook at 400 degrees, and it's on bake. And now it says that we need to put these in for about 12 minutes. So we'll put them in and see how they do. And remember, all of the ovens cook a little bit differently, so we're going to cook this. I'm going to give it, actually, let me do this again. Let's give it about 8 minutes. And then we'll check them. Okay, Ms. Kate, I wanted to let you know that not everything always works out when you're baking. The noise you hear in the background is the fan, and or when you're cooking, I guess I should say, not just baking. You hear the beeper going off. That's 12 minutes, and I'm going to show you what happened at 8 minutes. Remember, I told you I was going to leave it, but I wanted to go ahead and show you. When I opened the door, out came all this billowing smoke, and it has smoked up the entire house. And sometimes that happens when you're cooking. We followed the recipe exactly like it said, and actually that time it didn't smoke quite as bad because I did have the fan on. And I'm going to turn that fan off so that you can hear me a little better. Okay, And I'm pulling this out of the oven. This is done exactly by the recipe. And to me, that just does not look very appealing. So I'm going to say that that's probably kind of a loser. Putting it mildly, that does not look like something I would want to eat. It's kind of burned around the edges. So the first thing I would think was, well, it probably cooked too long and it cooked too hot. Remember, they had us turn the temperature up to 400 degrees. So I'm just going to try it out. I'm going to back the temperature off to 350 because I do have another probably 3 batches of this that I can try. So, oh, be real careful. I almost touched the thing. I'm just going to throw these out because they don't look edible. Let's actually see what they look like. Well, you can't get the wax paper off of them. That's probably why they wanted us to use parchment paper. But no, even on wax paper, that should have come right off. So I'm just going to bundle that up and throw that out. I wish you could see the smoke in the house. Mr. David will come running in a little bit and say, what's going on in my house? And you know what? I'm going to open the oven just a little bit and let it kind of cool down in there a little bit. The oven is still on. And by the way, I tasted that cake and boy was it good. Mr. David came up here a little bit ago and he said, can I start all over again? We made yaki mish today and we made chocolate mousse, and he's already had some of each one of those, and he came bringing his plates and he said, can I start from the beginning and have some yaki mish again and chocolate mousse? And I said, no, wait a minute, and you can have some cake. So he's enjoying the fact that we're cooking today and having a good time. All right, I think that the oven has probably cooled off a little bit, and I'm going to start again. We knocked the temperature down by 50 degrees from 400 to 350. Actually, the little red light is on my oven showing that the temperature needs to come up to 350. So we'll wait just a minute and let that happen. It won't take but just a little bit. And then we'll stick this in. And I'm going to do it again, this time at 8 minutes. But like I said, I wanted you to realize that not everything works out. Sometimes you have disasters in the kitchen, and you just kind of have to know, well, what are you going to do if you have a disaster, especially if you do like I do, and you're going to have a dinner party and have a bunch of people over, and oh no, if you have a disaster with something you cooked for them, what do you do? All right, we'll come back in about 7.5 minutes and try this again. Okay, we're about 10 seconds away, and we tried it for 8 minutes at 350 degrees. And that fan is blowing again because it was smoking up a storm. So let's see how this goes. Ooh, lots of smoke. It doesn't look as brown, but I think it's probably done. Let's pull these out and see. I think that's probably the way they're supposed to look. Turn this fan off. There we go. Yeah, I think that's probably better. Now, these are still sticking, and they're all crumbly because of the way that the crackers do. So I'm just not real impressed with this recipe. I don't think there's anything that you could do to get them to stick together. And I suspect that they're supposed to be crunchy, but I'm just going to call this one a wash and say that this is probably not going to be good. Now, I did do one other thing. I put them on a cookie sheet with just some ham sprayed on it. And I'm going to try these out and see how they do. They might do a little bit better. And when I post these videos, I will let you know how that goes, but I'm not going to make you wait through all of this. I think we've probably done enough for the day. That looks like a mess, and I have a feeling it's going to come out like a mess when it comes out. But we tried something new, and like I said, sometimes things work, sometimes they don't. This was one that didn't, but we had 3 that worked really well. And by the way, I tried that cake out, and it was wonderful. You could taste a little bit of root beer and a little bit of chocolate, and it was really, really good. So I hope you'll try it. All right, I'm gonna sign off for the night and finish up cleaning up the kitchen because we got a little bit of cleanup to do. Hope you had a good time today. I know I sure did. Talk to you later.